Hello, and welcome to episode 105 of Unqualified Game Chat. I am your host, Azario Lopez, and with me today is the very festive, the very cozy,
Mhm.
the very winter. Is it bearing? You're bearing winter?
I'm bearing winter.
Wow, yes, yes, yes,
Serving
yes.
winter.
On a silver platter, on a gold, on a platinum platter.
Platinum platter made out of all my little trophies.
Spencer, the legacy.
Hello, it's snowing quite a bit here, so I'm all wintered up.
It's it doesn't snow where I'm from, but it
Mhm.
gets very cold.
Yeah.
Not to make this about me, but
Mhm. But
but
where I'm from,
but hey, let's whenever I'm talking to someone and I say something and they start talking about themselves, I'll like pause and be like, okay, but let's start talking about me again. And then they
it's a
kind of like,
tempting thing because it's like that's how you relate to people, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I also said something pretty like my friend was having some social problems navigating like social interactions. And I'm like, dude, you can tell pretty early on when you're talking to somebody if they don't want to talk, if they don't care about what you're saying. And
Yeah.
it's by what they say, how they respond to what you're talking about.
If they
So
say,
if you
"Whoa, that's crazy," you're cooked, I'm
yeah, yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Dip out as quick as possible. And on that, it's if they start giving you advice right away, or if they say that's crazy, or just like, oh, cool, they don't want to talk. If
Yeah.
they ask a question, if you're talking about something and they follow up with a question, that means they're engaged. That means
Yeah.
they wanna know what you're talking about. And I
Mhm.
actually I was talking to my dad and my brother over Thanksgiving, and, we were talking I was trying to talk to him about, like, the game industry, which is already a bad idea. But,
Yeah.
they were just like I was like, "Yeah, see, I'm like, I do work. I do, Noisy Pixel, and I'm, like, on the internet, and I'm, like, trying to navigate these different, like, mindsets." And right away, they're just like, "Just be yourself." And I'm like, "Well, that's not really what I wanted to
Yeah,
hear,"
that's
you
just
know?
like tuning out completely, one ear out the other.
Yeah, like, no, you guys are supposed to be like, "Well, why do you feel that?" You know, it
Yeah.
wasn't like that at all. And then I quickly knew, I was like, "You know what? Like, this isn't gonna work." They're definitely the type of people that are, more, physical, like,
Mhm.
put those emotions back down,
Yeah.
and,
Just a little suppression as a treat.
yeah, 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 get those emotions, get them away.
Yeah.
And you know what? To their credit, I am like that with some things, and
Mhm.
some things I'm not. But, yeah, on that, how's the snow?
Uh, I liked it better in my apartment when I didn't have to shovel. That was great because shoveling snow
Ah.
sucks. It's the worst. It kills your back. But,
It
but yeah, no, it's
never
I
gets
love the look of
easier.
it. It doesn't. But we
Yeah.
have a snow blower, but it's broken, so we're truly
Ah.
cooked.
Ah.
We're in real danger.
That see, I'm all about shortcuts, so
Mhm.
anything like that, I would be like, "You know what? We're getting a new snowblower."
Yeah,
That's
we
what
had to order the part, so it hasn't come yet,
Oh, well, that's
because we have a postal strike in Canada.
you know what? You guys can't, take get a break, you know?
Yeah, so it's my dad ordered it through, like, UPS, so it should be arriving, but, you know, whew, didn't, uh didn't anticipate that, so it's
Well,
been a
your
lot of
free health
shoveling.
your free healthcare will, fix that back
That's
right up
true.
for you.
Mhm.
Right up for you.
It's true.
Kind of a interesting week of releases. I think we're in this downtime where we get to play games that we're I don't know, we kind of passed up on, or
Mhm.
work on projects that we've been meaning to finish. I've been and every time I start trying to finish my Sandland one, I start getting like these ideas for other things that I
Yeah,
want to do.
the
Like,
video maker's dilemma.
yeah, did you know there's
Yeah.
9 Game Boy games that came out this year?
Wow, that's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I'm doing a feature on it.
Hell yeah, that's exciting. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, so it's like stuff like that always comes up and I'm like, "Fuck," but it turns into the point where, like, I'm scared to release my Sandland
Mhm.
piece. It's
You've hyped
like,
it up too much in your head where it's like, "It can't
yeah,
match up to."
I've
Yeah.
invested myself too much. It's like when we actually have 3 banked history videos
We
that I have
do.
fully edited
Yeah.
fully edited, uh, that we could put out, and I'm just afraid to put them out. I
They're
don't know
really
what it
good,
is.
though.
They are really good.
I
They're
love
really
the,
good.
Evolution one. That one's my
Yes,
favorite.
I will say that one is pretty. Did we ever put out Red Ninja?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of the last because we did a Mana game.
Yeah, I think Mana was the one we put out because
Yeah,
the remaster was coming out, and we're like, "You know, we'll put out the Mana one."
yeah.
We have some good ones. Fuck, I should just put them out.
Leave a comment below if you wanna see our
Oh,
unaired history things.
yes, they're very well done, and
They're
I'm very
good.
proud of them. But when we created them, we were at, like, 20,000 subs,
Yeah, that was
and
years ago.
yeah,
That was
it's
probably,
freaking
like, 2020,
I still have not
2019.
gotten better at video editing, so
Oh,
my
don't
skills
sleep.
are the same. Dude, I sometimes, like, with the Neo, what Neo? Fantasia Neo Dimension that just came out,
Mhm,
I was supposed to edit that video, and I was like, "Mark, you're gonna do a lot better at this." So
mhm.
he kinda takes it. When it's like a big game like that, I'd rather Mark do it.
Big Mark.
Big Marky Mark.
Mhm.
But he actually did a preview, and he usually doesn't. He did the Sniper Elite Resistance preview.
Ooh.
That series has a lot of fans.
Mhm. It does. I've seen lots of people talk about it, and I feel like
Yeah,
there's been a lot of free PS Plus ones. I've never
yeah.
played any of them.
The weird thing about it is like Rebellion, like the innovations that they do to those games aren't graphically
Mhm.
different. They just focus on like systems and adding new little tweaks here and there.
X-ray kills.
Yeah, but it looks the same. It's like
Yeah.
good on yeah, I mean, good on them for stretching that,
They just wanna snipe people, and then,
yeah.
they give them more people to snipe.
Yeah, I don't know if people go into, like, the sim elements of it because it's still kind of arcadey, I will
Mhm.
say. Um,
It's like a
but
more violent Madden. Every year you get your Sniper Elite.
yeah, I wish we got a yearly Halo game.
That would be interesting.
If there was one series that I think should have a yearly release, it should be Halo.
I think
Or 2
Final
years.
Fantasy should get back to yearly releases, baby.
Oh,
See
when
how
was
they do it.
13, 13.2, 13.3?
Yeah,
I mean,
we got
Lightning Returns took
789
away.
pretty quickly.
That was 1999, 2000, like or well,
Yeah, that was like
97
7.
97 was 7, I
Yeah,
think.
and then 8 was 8 or 9, I don't remember. And then, yeah, 2000, I think, was 9? So,
Uh,
pretty consistent there.
Now that Fantasian's, like, scores have come through, I was seeing a lot of, like, 9s, and
Mhm,
I do not count 10s for those types of games because I think that if that game was a critical success, it would have received those scores on the Apple Arcade, which is
mhm.
where I played it, and it's like, you guys, okay, you're here, but I there is feedback to give to this game. I
Yeah,
wouldn't say it's a perfect game. Um, but I do agree with that it is a must play, so I would probably give it a 9 as well.
mhm.
Even on the Apple Arcade version, I would say it's a great game, not necessarily a great mobile game, but
Yeah,
that's
I enjoyed the little preview at PAX that I played. It was very different from anything else that
my
similar, so.
my question is, do you think that Square is going to see these scores and kind of reevaluate their approach to kind of game development where we
That'd be
saw the
nice.
Forspoken, we saw the
Mhm.
Final Fantasy 16, like super graphical, highly like I don't know, flashy. Do you think we're
Yeah.
going to see a toned down Square in the coming years?
I hope so because I've banged on this drum forever, but I really think Square Visuals peaked with their PS2 style for like Kingdom Hearts and like PSP, like the Cydia style, where like if you it was very colorful and it very clearly was like, oh, that's like Tetsuya Nomura artwork, or like you could tell very much instead of like very realistic. And I think even the PS3, like stuff like Final Fantasy 13 has a really nice look. You can even with a higher quality. But I think it's gotten to the point where it's like it doesn't need to be. I don't need it to be that intensely sharp and like I would rather just have a cool style that's like lower grade than the more expensive. I mean, it's like nice to like it's gorgeous to look at Final Fantasy 16 and stuff,
Yeah,
but like look at Final Fantasy 14. It has MMO visuals and it's like enormous. It's
yeah,
a beloved game and it rocks. So I mean, I hope that even if they continue, like obviously they're not going to make like seven part three, not visually, but I hope that they're open to making some smaller games that might like maybe like smaller scale remakes of the SNES games or something to
yeah,
like make it more accessible, but it's not the massive remake quality of Rebirth where it's a different completely different visual style and system, blah blah. Just something more quaint and easy to get out there.
yeah. I will say that there's like I think they have something to prove. Like I
Mhm.
feel like Square wants to be up there with the Sonys. They want to be seen, especially like their business arm of the entire operation. It just seems
Yeah,
like they're like we're Japanese developers and we have a bar
yeah.
to set for not only JRPGs but what Japanese games
And they do
look
have the
like.
reputation. Final Fantasy is like the triple A RPG, so I
Yeah.
understand like wanting to uphold to that. But I think
Yeah.
you can do that with the main entries and have the side ones or the remakes be more experimental, more double A kind of thing. I think like look at the Mana remakes and everything.
Mhm.
I think a
And I do
Chrono Trigger remake like that would rock.
I think and what sucks is that when they do release games that are on the smaller scale, like Harvest Stella
Yeah.
or, that one, uh that one adventure game that, what is it? You know, the I don't know, it's like a Ace Attorney. I don't know, it's like the ghost game, fan whatever, fan some paranormal site. There it is, I see,
Oh, okay, yeah.
I walked myself there.
You got
I
there.
I got in the car, I
Yeah.
drove around the block,
And
and I
then you
came
remembered
back
where you were going.
and I remember where I was going. Yeah, but, like, they don't know how to freaking market those
Yeah,
games.
that's
So
true.
not only do they have to develop them, but they need to learn how to market their games. They did not do shit for Fantasian, I'll tell you
Yeah.
that much.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever sales that game gets is from JRPG fans who just want
Yeah.
a traditional
Like reviews and
JRPG.
Reddit threads.
Yeah, like, that it is going to that game is going to succeed the same way that Star Ocean, the recent remake and for Star Ocean 2,
Mhm.
was it Second Story R or whatever? Uh, the success that that saw was all based on just fans, you know, just word of mouth, and I think they marketed that towards the end pretty well, but
Yeah.
games like Harvestella come and go, and then you hear a year later, "Oh, this is, like, the best game
Why
ever.
didn't anyone play
Why
this?
did anyone buy" Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like,
No one knew it
like,
existed.
yeah, I wish there was a life for these games, and
Mhm.
as much as I like physical games, it does make sense that these publishers prefer digital sales
Yeah.
because they actually make money off of them,
Mhm.
uh, whereas if you buy a used game, they never see any of that, you know?
It's true.
Um, so I think a lot of the time you'll see like, oh, they lost money on, Rebirth being PS5 exclusive or but it's gonna make its money back sooner or later, I
Mhm.
promise you. Like, they
Any
know
game with
that.
Cloud Strife in it is gonna do fine.
Yeah, and they play the long game. They
Yeah.
do. They definitely and that's all publishers, Xseed included, Koei Tecmo, they play a very long game in how they release. And the staggered release of, like, putting out a complete edition or putting out, like, an upgrade, you know, they're just
Yeah.
reusing assets, which cuts down on development time, but it creates a whole new release.
Yeah.
I think it's similar to how, like, sometimes a game will come out on, I don't know, like, the Google store or whatever, like,
Yeah.
randomly, and then, they'll treat it like a whole new release when it comes to
Yeah.
console. Like Oh, don't forget, like, or like, don't look at that, but it's a brand new game now.
It was never on there, but it's coming. It's yeah.
I mean, kinda like Fantasian, you know?
Fantasia,
Like,
yeah, literally.
game's been around for 3 years. You
Yeah.
could play it for $6.99, and
Mhm.
you can have it for a month and just end your subscription with Apple, but you can play it for $6.99 if you wanted
Yeah.
to. Yeah, it's insane. I heard that the physical release of that was, like, limited, so I did end up
Oh,
picking
interesting.
that picking that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am curious, like, what's the future of this company, you know? It's pretty interesting. Well, we have the Game Awards coming up, so we're definitely gonna see at
God,
least
let
what
it be
some
Kingdom
people.
Hearts 4. Come on. Come on. It's been too you can't they I can't believe they still do the Square Enix announce it way too early thing with Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts. That's so goofy.
What was more goofy is the way they released that first trailer too.
Yeah.
Like, is that some random, like, event,
Yeah.
and at, like, 3 in the morning or something like that? Like,
It's nuts.
it's
And
insane.
then, like, no info at all, and the mobile game's been delayed again.
That yeah, yeah. Was that the dark
Missing
whatever?
Link, I think.
Missing link.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a missing game, more
The
like it.
damn missing game, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 foot in quadratum and 1 foot out, you know? That's the way we live. That's my
It's
dream.
crazy, like, Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, what was it, 2018 or 19? Which is, like that's a long time ago. That's like
Yes,
a ugh.
do you ever look at Kingdom Hearts 3 and, like, see, like, the pirate, world and just be like, like, "This is Kingdom Hearts?" Like,
That's yeah, that's the purest form of Kingdom Hearts to me is, like, hyper realistic Johnny Depp next to
yeah,
Goofy.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, that's what this there's that famous picture of, like from Kingdom Hearts 2 of, like, Orlando Bloom's character, Will, like, holding Elizabeth, and he's like, "I can't believe this is happening," and behind him is just Goofy's like it's like the perfect clash. That's what Kingdom Hearts is to me, 100%.
Yeah, so with the next Kingdom Hearts, it's always interesting when they release these games because the age of the fans have
Yeah,
kind of
grown with it.
risen, but there is still new gamers. I first played Kingdom Hearts 1 when I was 12 years old, you know?
Mhm.
It's like that's my relationship with it, but I would love for new 12-year-olds to have that same
Oh,
experience, you
100%.
know?
Yeah.
It's kinda tough it's kinda tough now, I think, just in the age of, like, keeping, keeping somebody's attention, and they always say, "Oh, there's too much distractions and stuff," but
Mhm.
I really think that it is possible to kinda train yourself to kinda quiet those down and
Yeah.
focus on whatever you're playing. Some people do it better than others. I suck at it. Um, I have to have, like, music playing and,
YouTube while you eat.
yeah,
Yeah.
YouTube while I eat. Yeah,
Got it.
it but or while I shower too, I put the phone on and I'll watch, like, CNN. That's when I catch yeah, I'll watch it.
Funny.
I'll pick up on my news when I take a shower just because I need to do 2 things at once,
Yeah.
and, but I think it's and I guess that goes to our discussions for what we're playing.
Mhm.
Right now, um, I hope the review will be live by the time this comes up. If not, then embargo's gonna be over, but I'm on the last dungeon or area of, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle,
Mhm.
and Spencer is playing through Star Wars Outlaws
Yeah.
in its, definitive form.
Shiny new form. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole little Lucasfilm game corner today where we're both
Yeah.
doing that.
So, you've played Assassin's Creed,
Yes.
and you played through those recently, if I
Mhm.
remember correctly.
Yeah.
How does that kinda translate to what Star Wars Outlaws is doing with the Ubisoft formula?
It's interesting. I heard that before the game was more Splinter Cell-y because, you do a lot of stealth. Um, but they've made it, I guess, because I to clarify, I didn't play it till now, so I never played any previous version of this game. I'm just playing with all these big updates now, because Will sent me a copy to play, which is very nice from Love You, Will. And, so I got it, and I was playing through Metaphor, and I finally finished that. right when that update came out. So I was like, okay, this is the time. This is good timing. Um, and now, so that update made it like you can blast your way out of situations instead of like instant fail states and stuff like that.
Mm.
And that, I think that's made a huge difference because I've been having a very fun time with the game where like I'll be stealthy, but then outside of the occasional mission where it's like you have to be stealthy or you'll just get murdered by every because there's so many people. It's like, oh well, if you get caught, you shoot your way out, and you're like a Han Solo because that's the premise of the game is you're an outlaw, you're a smuggler, thief, kind of roguish character named Kay who's on the run because there's a bounty on her after the beginning of the game. So you you are being stealthy, but you're able to be like Han Solo, where it's like, okay, time to blast my way out of this Imperial base or something, and that option makes the game far more like what you would want from a Star Wars like smuggler thief game, and it's in terms of being like Assassin's Creed. So far, the open world part is similar in terms of like you speed around the planet, and there's like things appear on the map and you can go get a treasure or something, which I do like that as a fun distraction thing. Um, but so far, I haven't had to climb towers to fill out areas. Um, I haven't. You can't kill random people in towns and stuff, so it is fairly different. But there is definitely that DNA in there, which isn't a pun with the Assassin's Creed DNA stuff. But it's I'm having a very good time. I'm really enjoying it. It feels more akin to like Uncharted than anything else in terms of the gunplay and the punching and the climbing and stuff. So I've been quite enjoying that. I'm not super deep in because I get distracted by side stuff in games like this all the time, where I'll be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna drive around and do a bunch of side objectives for 2 hours," and then I'm way too strong for the plot. But yeah, no, like you can go to space and fly around. You can drive around on your motorbike and or your speeder bike and hunt treasures or rob bases. And I would say if you were on the fence about playing it because of the reviews and stuff, this is the best time to play it because I've been having a very good time. And I think these updates have been quite substantial because all the complaints and stuff I read are things that were fixed. So I've been quite happy.
I'm glad that you're seeing those complaints because all I see is the complaints about people saying it's woke
Oh yeah,
and
that
and
oh my god.
DEI. Yeah, that's the
I
you
don't
know,
mind playing as a woman. I don't need to see every character as me.
I will say that a lot of the people that buy these games
Mhm.
don't have no insight into what the hell these people the
Yeah.
war these people are raging
No, because 'cause
on.
they're fighting ghosts. There's nothing there. You're punching the
It's
air.
I'll tell you, it's an echo chamber because
Yeah.
no dad or mom out there is gonna give a shit about looking on Twitter
Yeah.
about it's about what game they're gonna buy their kid or
And no kid's gonna be like, "I don't wanna play a Star Wars game because there's a girl in it." Kids are
yeah.
just like, "I love Star Wars. I want to play that."
It's I think the outrage stemming from a lot of this, and I've already been seeing it on some of my coverage for Indiana Jones,
Mhm.
which, we're gonna talk about in a little bit, but it's like they write them off before they even play it,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm starting to have, like, actual dialogue with people because they I think our criticisms on these games is that they're not realistic or they do things that video games do. The yellow paint
Yeah.
criticism, the where does the weapon go after they hit the person, they
Mhm.
just disappear. So the fuck what?
Yeah, like, who cares? Like, I understand sometimes it looks goofy, the yellow paint, but I guarantee they tested it without it
It's
and
a
found that no
but
one knew
also
what to do.
yeah, and it's a video game.
Yeah, and it's a Star Wars world. Like,
Yeah, it
sure, there's yellow sure, why not? There's all sorts of crazy shit. It doesn't break my suspension of disbelief that there's yellow paint. I will say the main character, there's this weird, like, break between who you like, when you play as her and when she's in dialogue where, like,
uh.
in dialogue in the story, she seems to be very bad at her job where, like, she'll be trying to lie and stuff, she'll be like, yeah, definitely," and it's like, "Oh, that's very clearly a lie," or she'll
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, man, I can definitely do that. Oh, what am I gonna do? But then, like, you easily pull it off and you're, like, doing an incredible job in blast. So it's like, she should be more confident because, like, in
Yeah,
game, she's doing all these insane feats, but then in cutscenes, they're like, "Oh, she's a average smuggler," and it's like,
a
"No, I fucking rock." Like,
and
what are you talking
that's where my, like when I'm criticizing a game, it always mostly comes down to the story and narrative
Yeah.
when it comes to those types of games, because I can look past, a couple frame rate drops, I
Mhm,
can look past, the weapon disappearing, um, but if it impedes gameplay, then sure, you bring it up, and there's a couple things in Indiana Jones that does, but
mhm.
in the case of, like, criticizing a game for, I don't know, it being woke or whatever, I think most of that stems from narrative
Mhm.
design or narrative direction,
Yeah.
less about has to do with gameplay and, but it seems like when these arguments come up, it's blanketed across
Oh,
the
yeah.
entire game.
Yeah,
I
100%.
can I can enjoy Assassin's Creed Valhalla and not give a shit about the story, you know?
Mhm.
Um, but as a gamer, you just gotta kinda ask yourself, like, "Do can I look past this?" If you can't, there's other games to
There's
play.
more other games than ever.
Yeah, there's almost too many. That's why when, like, these, like, criticisms come around, it's exhausting because I just wanna say, like, "Dude, there's, like, so much,
Yeah,
out
you're
there to."
wasting your energy. Like, you could be enjoying other games instead. And I get
Yeah.
obviously, like, if you have actual criticisms, like, there's nothing to stop you from voicing them.
Yeah.
But a lot of those situations, it's not real it's literally things like, "Where's the gun go?" Or, like,
Yeah.
things like where it's just like no
Yeah,
one
they're
cares.
just laughing at the game systems, less about, like,
Yeah.
what their argument stems for is that, like, there's, like.
It's like 2013 era Dorkly comics or so. "Where's the gun go? Her ass?" It's like,
Yeah, yeah,
wow, that's really and Mario does weed, dude, isn't that
yeah.
crazy?
He's taking mushrooms, bro.
Mario's doing mushrooms, getting high, Link is breaking people's pots in their houses, and they're getting PO'd.
Uh, yeah, so it's I don't know, it's an interesting thing to dissect, but I will say always, like, make your own opinions. Don't let
Yeah,
don't honestly, because certain podcasts that you listen to, you can kinda tell, especially the smaller podcast, who they listen to get that information, and then you can kind of follow it up the ladder. Same
yeah,
with a lot of these comments. I see it, but I already saw it 3 days ago on Twitter when it
yeah.
blew up. Like, your opinions, double check with yourself that they're your opinions and not
Even
someone
from
else's.
us, don't just use our opinions,
Fuck yeah. Yeah.
be yourself. That's all we can recommend because 'cause
Yeah.
we're wrong about shit. That is
I
that's
I
human.
I platinumed, the first, OG Neptunia games,
Wow.
so that's where my gamer credit lands.
I've platinumed way too many Lego games for someone my age. So,
Fun games, fun
they're
games.
fun ga they're good
I
brain junk.
liked Dragon Ball Evolution.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
fucked.
I walked out
That's
of
a
that
rough one.
I walked out of that theater happy as could be.
I walked
Gla
out PO'd. You can't even picture, like, 12-year-old Spe how angry 12-year-old Spencer was because like, Dragon Ball Z there's never been a time in my life that I remember where I didn't like Dragon Ball Z, so I was like when they were announcing stuff in the movie, I was like, "This makes no there's no fucking Krillin, there's no Bulma looks like nothing like Bulma, well, there's no Oolong, what's going
Uh,
on?" And then I saw the movie and I walked out and I was like that was one of the first movies I ever saw where I was like, "That stunk! That
like,
wasn't what I wanted at all!"
uh, I'd gladly watch it again.
Azario would play the PSP game if they re-released it with trophies.
Oh, dude, if they put those characters in Sparking Zero,
That would be funny. That would at least be fun. I would yeah, like Justin Chatwin Goku.
I would I asked the producer about it, and he answered seriously. Just that they're always looking for more characters, and then, I don't know, it would be fun. I mean, why not?
Can you imagine the Dragon Ball Evolution character pack? Can you
Yeah,
imagine the shitstorm that would cause the second it's announced? That'd be so
I
funny.
bet there's some licenses around there. I don't think it's possible because
Yeah, the
somebody
actors and shit.
yeah, someone has
Plus, it wouldn't
some
fit
type
the
of
art style at all. It would be so weird to have, like, like, Square Enix looking, like,
that they left
actors.
they left it open, so
Yeah,
maybe that could be where the story concludes.
could be yeah, it ends where Super began with Dragon Ball Evolution pissing off Toriyama.
Daima, that's the new one that's happening
Yeah,
right now?
Daima rocks. I'm having a good time with Daima.
I haven't watched any of it. Should I?
I would say so. I mean, I any new Dragon Ball for me is like heaven. That rocks. But I'm
Yeah,
quite enjoying it's very, like it's a lot more like it's like a combination of all the things that Toriyama's, like, designed and worked like, there's a lot of Dragon Quest in it. There's a lot of Sandland and Dragon Ball, like, original Dragon Ball, and
nice.
there's, like, Blue Dragon characters look like Blue Dragon characters. It's very interesting. I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, it's one of those things like Sandland, like, maybe it is a Koreama-san, like, just, like, I don't want it to, like I don't wanna think about it, you know?
Yeah.
I wanna think about it. Um, but back to Star Wars,
Mhm.
um, what would you rate it?
So far, I mean, I'm not super deep, but I would say, like, 7.5, 8. Like,
Hmm,
I'm having a very good time. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and,
and you guys,
yeah,
that's a good score. That's a
it is a
good
good
game.
score. Yeah, that's a good
That's it.
game.
If you're I would because you factor in cost and a lot I think I give a lot of indies 7s to 8s
Mhm.
because they work within their means. They're like, "Oh, this is the type of game I'm trying to create." If they deliver on what they're saying that they're going to create, then I
Yeah.
gotta give them props.
Yeah,
Sure,
you gotta.
maybe some systems are weird or whatever, and you can offer some insight, but, like, you're selling your game for 15 bucks, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I have to take that in consideration, but that leads me into my discussion about Indiana Jones and the Great
Yeah,
Circle.
tell us.
The review should be up. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to do it tonight. But we got Survivor, and you know how important that is to me.
That's true.
Um, it's it's a fun game. It's very beautiful. It,
Mhm.
but Bethesda really needs to stop using the word immersive.
Yeah.
I think is like the because when you say when you say immersion, it's like the player you're putting the player in the first person of indie who for all of us is just this nostalgic larger than life archaeologist who gets all the women, who knows all the answers, who can fight, who can he's just like
He's smart, he's an explorer, he's tough.
I have
A
always wanted to
man's
be
man.
I've always wanted to be um a combination of Indiana Jones and Han Solo.
Yeah.
And if I look if I think about like my idols growing up, Harrison Ford would be I wanted to be him, you know?
See, Azario was one of the cooler you can tell based on who they wanted to be if they were cool. Azario was cool. I wanted to be Luke. I was like, "Wow, I wanna be Luke."
Oh, yeah. Dude, I
So
used to
that
wear
yeah.
I used to wear 2 belts, and I would wear one, and then I would wear
Whoa.
another one that was only on
Like a
one
whip?
hook. No, it
Yeah.
was only on one that was on one hook so that the belt was slanted, so I'd have a belt, and then I have another belt that, like,
That's
kind of
cool.
it
Very
was like
Square Enix.
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
my I was trying to be Harrison I was trying to be, Han
Han
Solo.
Solo with a
Yeah,
holster. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That
So that
rocks.
dude, I was committed to the bit.
Hell yeah.
Uh, so I will say that there are moments while I'm playing this game where I'm like, "Fuck, I'm having so much fun right now."
Mhm.
There there's some scenes where, like, Indy's interacting with, like, the villain and the side characters, and I'm just like, "Holy shit, I'm watching a new Indiana Jones movie."
Yeah.
It it is so great in those moments, but then the f the issues where these huge studios where they have different people who don't talk to each other, try and create a game and then somehow stitch it all together. that's what's affecting this.
Mhm,
No stage feels cohesive. You have like the dungeons which are which share in each stage, but I think like there's some levels that are just you just straight through. Like the opening of the game is terrible.
mhm,
Um everything until you get to maybe Giza is like a tutorial in the sense that the it feels like it feels like you're playing 3 different games sometimes.
yeah,
It's, I the AI is I turn and I even tried to, like, make it harder than me. I played on the toughest difficulty, and still I w you can you basically if you get caught, if you stand in a doorway, the guys will just, like, walk in and you just pop, pop, pop.
yeah.
They just pop,
They
pop, pop.
funnel in and you just
Yeah.
whack them all,
And
yeah,
there's, like, stamina, but it doesn't do anything, you know? It's
yeah,
you can literally cheese your way through any encounter. Um, there's a big issue with if you're holding a weapon or, I don't know, a light, um, and you try to pull up the camera, he'll drop whatever he's holding. I'm like, "Can you just, like, have him" like, I don't see where he puts that. I would
yeah.
much rather him just, like, put it on his back instead of having
Convenience over realism.
you have to fucking pick it up, and you have to take out your camera and your lighter a lot,
Yeah,
okay? And there are even times where you have to, fend off, scorpions using a light, but you can't pick up 2 items at once, so you have to throw an item and pick up the light and then
yeah,
throw the light or it's like, "Fuck, dude, just let me hold 2 items." Terrible item management. It's weird. I don't know how anybody is having fun with that aspect.
yeah.
But then you get into the puzzles, and goddamn, they fucking nailed it.
You feel like indie?
You feel like fucking Indiana Jones, dude. It is so cool sometimes. Turn the difficulty up because there is a light option for the adventure part. You can really fine tune the entire experience. Um, But man, when you solve these puzzles, some of them are really straightforward, but, like, so was the films, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't, like, breaking new ground in the films or, like, doing things that are like
He was just like, "Oh, that's another word for Jesus. Okay, that's
yeah,
how I solve this puzzle."
dude, they do this thing where, like, when he's talking to another, smart person, he'll, like, ask a question and they'll answer it, enthusiastically, like, they're just all in the know about these archaeological, historical things, and it is just so clever. Really good writing, really good villain, very I mean, take into consideration that the last few Indiana Jones films were not that good,
Yeah,
okay? So, release that, nostalgic and just enjoy a fun video game. I don't know the score I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna wait till I write it and then see where my head is after I read what I write.
mhm,
I have a vague score in mind. But I think you gotta know what you're getting yourself into in this game.
mhm.
If you're looking for an action game, I'd say stop. Do not play this game. It's it's more like Dishonored with Indiana
Interesting.
Jones.
That's
Be
interesting.
Yeah, there's like 5 different ways to get to the same place. You can, like, maybe get yourself into a weird side activity, find a key that gets you into this other place or that acts as a
Yeah,
shortcut, it's it's up to you. You can climb the roof sometimes and, like, sneak in through windows and solve a fun puzzle, and the way that they do upgrades is they do adventure points, so that's why you take a lot of pictures because you get points from taking these pictures of things, and it's all very, I maybe used the gun, like, maybe 4 times,
that's
and,
good. That's like the movie then, where he
yeah,
doesn't use it that
yeah,
often.
you do not yeah,
Yeah,
and when I do use the gun, it's during some of, like, the boss fights that I'm just like, "Oh, I never use the gun, I'm just gonna shoot these it's just me and them, I'm just gonna shoot
yeah.
them."
That's like the movie when he shoots the
Yeah.
sword guy. That's perfect. Yeah,
There's it is very Indiana Jones. I'm having
that's
a great
cool.
time.
That sounds
Uh,
awesome.
I also like the way that they do the environments where
Mhm.
I d you don't run a lot. Like, you can run, but I don't want to because, like, I wanna look at, like, the caves and,
Wanna
like, look at
soak
the
it in.
books and look at the fun, like, stuff they do. It's just the fucking AI, man. It's the fucking AI. It really that's where the immersion gets taken out of in item management and AI because they are just these guys are just so freaking dumb.
Hopefully,
And
they
if you
can fix that.
yeah, I it's incredible that even on, like, the hardest difficulty, I can still cheat, and I would expect that on a low difficulty. If you're playing easy, just cheese your way through the game, that's what it's made for, but god damn, there's, like there's just I'll take down a guy and maybe around the corner, there's another guy, but he doesn't hear me, or I'm sneaking up a guy behind a guy, and I'm holding a fucking, like, uh, torch, and I can still sneak up behind him, like, he doesn't see the light and my shadow directly behind him. Come on,
Yeah.
come on. If you're gonna say immersion, fix that. I wanna be immersed. I wanna be Indiana
You wanna
Jones.
wear that damn fedora.
I wanna wear if I was ever gonna be the fedora guy,
It'd be the indie kind.
it would be the Indy
Mhm.
fedora guy. So I hope to have that out tomorrow, or maybe I'll put it out Friday and kinda, sit with the experience, but I should beat it by tonight, so
Nice. I'm excited for it to come to PlayStation, 'cause I have an Xbox.
next year.
And it'll be all fixed by then, just like Outlaws. Any
Yeah.
issues will be gone.
And the PC version, the requirements are insane, so,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. Cool game. I think it's gonna be a lot of, adult men, like, 40 years old, like, their Christmas list
Be able to
this
get your
year.
dad to play it kinda game.
It's definitely I think that might be the target audience
Yeah.
for this game is
"Dad, they
30
put out an Indiana Jones game." And he's like, "Oh, that sounds interesting."
because you know what? When the cue turned, dun, 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 and I'm
Yeah.
just like, "Fuck yeah," and I'm like,
That's what you want
"Woo!"
from the game. Yeah.
He's like hanging from a blimp, and I'm like, "Woo!"
"This is
I'm
Indiana Jones!"
oh, dude, feels so good. It's just fun. It's just fun. I don't know if it's $70 fun, but definitely $50, $60 fun.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah. Machine games can't really do wrong until they do, like, a weird looter shooter Wolfenstein.
Yeah. That'll be a rough day. That'll be a rough day when they do that.
No, they did with with the dual
Redfall?
girls. The
Oh,
dual
yeah.
girl that one came and went, like, whatever happened to those dual girls?
I'm I mean, I'm not a looter shooter guy, so I don't need any more of those, but
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are, so I'm not yeah, but I
yeah.
played Borderlands 2.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know the appeal. You know who killed, the guy, the owner of that the creator of that guy,
Randy
what is
Pitchford?
yeah, the
Yeah.
magician. He kinda I never got into Borderlands because I've never liked him.
Yeah, and then he was just like, "Damn, bro, it's 2013 again." Like, I don't know.
I need to see, Cliff Bleszinski and, David Jaffe make a game together. They
That would be
bring the
interesting.
bring the old heads
The
back.
old heads back, yeah. That would be fascinating at this time, yeah.
There's some kinda twisted metal
Yeah,
game, crazy,
that'd be neat.
car explosion, but that's it, all we have for you today, guys. Um, everyone, thanks for listening.
What games are you
Noisy Pixel.